Hey witchlings, welcome back to my channel. It's me, your local chaotic witch aunt, and this video is all about my journey in turning a collection of deer knuckles into a bone throwing set. I asked on Instagram, I was like, I've had these deer knuckles for ages, and I had no idea what to do with them. And I knew that I wanted a while ago to return to kind of cultivating a bone throwing set. But I wasn't sure how or what that would look like. And as I was kind of sitting with this, I was like, you know what, I could do a really complex set with a lot of different bones, but because all I have right now is deer bones, my idea was to create a yes-no set. And I kind of sat with the bones and was like, is this something you want to do? Are you okay practicing with me? Do you consent to being a bone throwing? And it was like, yeah, but you have to do all these things first. So right now I'm in the process of carving and feeding these bones, basically, because the deer bones were like, you gotta give us stuff if you want us to cooperate. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I have this one long bone, and it has basically 3 circles on it. And I just chose 2 symbols that I know really well: a O, a circle, and an X. The X's just simply mean no, the O's mean yes. And this bone with the 3 circles indicates an obstacle, possibly. I was going to draw a line through these, but I kind of like how they look just with the circles. So this indicates an obstacle that needs to be moved in regards to the question. And so on the bones, the flat side is the X side, and the curved side, or the side where maybe a different joint was attached, is the O side, except for this one because both sides were kind of funky. So we have curved O, meaning yes, flat, or like, and some of these are bumpy depending on the bone, means X, no. I ordered a Dremel, so I got a Dremel and I did my first kind of test piece. And I also need to paint them a little bit with acrylic paint, but I do kind of like the way these are carved. So I haven't ordered the paint yet. I'm going to do the whole set and then decide if I even want to paint it or just want to leave it. For the time being, what I'm going to be focusing on is showing you guys how I'm kind of working with these bones or meeting them and connecting with them. I just went real simple, and it felt like this was the best method of doing it. I don't think these bones want to be used with other bones that are not deer bones for the time being. But if this goes well, maybe I'll make more sets, and maybe for my shop, or maybe kind of do carved knuckle bone things. We'll see. But yeah, these are the deer. Let's do some throwing. So my mask came for carving. We're gonna open it really quick. Got safety goggles. Particulate filter. The actual mask. Vapor acid cartridge, also P100. And then a filter adapter. We need it. So this is what I got. This 3M filter and particulate filter. We're gonna have to size it down because this is not gonna fit on my head, but it is perfect. And then I'm gonna have to read the instruction manual to figure out how to put this together.
Shout out to my partner who helped me fit this and put it on. So this was and is my gear for bone carving. And this is what I look like in the backyard, dremeling deer knuckles.
I'm really excited to have a little bit more of a sense of security. as I'm continuing to experiment with carving with bone. And that's how you know it was a good suction, because my face was all red. It was all red. So yeah, this is my gear. 3M mask, P100 plus vapor filters, and safety goggles. Alright, I'm in the car. I'm headed to the craft store. I'm headed to Gary's to see if I can get some bone white paint to make some of the X's stand out a little more. And then I also may do a little bit more carving today. I have a alkanet dye kind of soaking for a bit of a bigger red purple tint, because when I looked at the bones this morning, even though I left the dye on for a while, it looks a little like iffy. It's kind of pinkish purplish, but it's also a bit patchy. It just kind of makes the bones look dark instead of red, which is what I was going for. Yeah, like I said, this is a process. We're gonna see how it goes, and then later I'm gonna do a little throwing with the bones, see if they're happy, and yeah, let's go. Okay, I'm back from Gary's. I got 3 paints, right? And so I definitely don't need this much paint, but it is kind of a like pill bottle sized amount of paint, basically a tester. And I like only use this for a patch test, but he recommended that I just do this size. I told him what I was doing, that it was for a craft project. And so I was gonna originally do, hold on. I was originally going to do white on the X's, but I talked to my friend and they recommended black. So I have 2 blacks. I think one is a little darker than the other, one's a little bluer than the other. This is the darker, like true black, pitch black one. These are all acrylic paints, which is what is recommended for bone painting. I also really like the idea of acrylic because it's kind of hard to get rid of. So I did some patches, some tests. And you can see there's the like not so true black, the white that I got, and then this is the dye that I'm using, which is just kind of like a wine alkanet dye with a little bit of like a base alcohol to help transfer it. I love the white because this kind of piece of paper is not 100% white, because I don't want, like I told him, I don't want like a true stark white. I want like a cream white, and I think this is pretty good. So if I wanted to paint the O's on some of the bones, I could do it without it looking really unnatural. I could also go back and just get the bone white, which is kind of tan, but I think this will do along with the black as well. And then we're going to kind of apply the dye, which has been sitting overnight. I don't want it to be like a super stark red. I really am going for like a darker purplish red shade. So I'm hoping that the way that the dye has been made will kind of transfer that. If not, absolutely not a worry. We rock and rolly with it. We roll with it. But I like that I have acrylics now, because if I want to do any other carvings or painting on bone, I now have the 2 colors that I really was looking for. And yeah, we can now start painting. Like I showed you, I did some test strips and I really like how that black looks. So I'm just going to launch into painting the X's, paint one, see how it goes, and then go from there. these turned out. I was feeling really kind of bummed yesterday after I did the carving because I was like, these really aren't looking at all like what I wanted them to, and I felt like I didn't do a good job with the dremeling. I was being really hard on myself, but I love how they turned out. So this is an example piece. And this one, the white side, is one that I have to go back in and Dremel a little more. If not, I haven't decided if I want to paint the O's yet. I did paint the O on this one. This is the obstacle piece. And you can see it's got the O's, but the O's have a little slash through it. There's a little bit of dye on a little bit of the acrylic. It's just like this deep, dark, gorgeous red staining, like a wine red, which is really what I was going for. And it's not paint, so it's not adding like an acrylic type feel to the bone. It's actually keeping kind of the feeling of it actually being a bone intact. This is another example. This one I may Dremel a little more, but I feel like it's pretty good. And the black ended up being the perfect choice for the acrylic. Even the piece that I was like, oh, I Dremeled that and it looks like shit. The black also adds a layer of depth to it that you don't see that it's gone too deep, which I love. And look at that. Oh, I may go in, I'll do a little on the side because there's a little bit of staining. This one is, I think, my favorite piece because it just looks so good. Oh, gorgeous. And so the other thing with the reddening of the bones is, like I kind of mentioned, maybe I didn't mention, reddening the bones is actually like a very particular reason and ritual behind it. I'm not just doing this because it's cute. I'm doing it because I want to work with the spirit of the bones. This is symbolizing like blood, giving blood back to a dead object to work with the spirit. And so the red serves a purpose. It's not just a pretty color. It's something that I'm actually giving life and vitality and breath back to these bones. And I love how this turned out. I have a lot more dye left, so I may dye other bones. The other thing, you can still feel it. You can feel the X and you can feel the O, which is really what I wanted, but you can also see it better. It doesn't look as like chunky or weird. I love how the X and the O and the carving itself feels on my hands, which was another part of like, I want to be able to hold these and like how they feel. Someone was like, you can just paint them. But for me, the carving plus the paint has created kind of this gorgeous, not just this standout pattern, but I am able to kind of leave the O's as they are because they're already really standout. But yeah, I absolutely adore how they turned out. And I'm really glad that the process that I was doing ended up in a place where I liked how they looked, because I didn't want to get more deer knuckles. And I kind of already told the spirit, this is what we're doing. So, and from here, we have to kind of practice with them. We have to work with them, wake them up, make sure that they're pleased. Even though the set is technically done, the actual prep of the set and preparing the bones for throwing and being used as a spirit and allyship for divination is not done. So I'm probably going to be doing some smoke cleansing. Maybe I'll bury them in some cemetery dirt. I may rub them with certain oils. I'm letting the dye dry right now. As you can see, there's some on my hand because it's not 100% dry. Once it dries, I may go back in and do another layer of dye over some of the pieces. And like I said, I may do some recarving as well, especially with some of the O's. Yeah, we're going to continue to kind of do the process of meeting and greeting these bones and working with these bones and figuring out what these bones need in order to be used in a professional divination setting and for myself. But for now, yeah, I'm very pleased with how they look. This has been a fun journey so far. Thanks for coming along with me. Hi, witchlings. It's been a minute because I've just kind of been busy. But I began working with the bones recently. I just kind of want to show everyone how they turned out and talk a little bit about what I fed them, how they've been working. So the color came out really stunning. It has this purplish red color that isn't too overbearing, but is still enough to give a bit of contrast for the nose and the S's. I have not gone back in and carved some of these yet. I don't want to over carve like I did with some of the X marks. So I think I'm just kind of leaning more to the side of like, would rather leave them rather than damage them. There is one or two I definitely want to mess with a little bit, but I've been so busy with everything that I just haven't been doing it. I find that they've been working really well. I originally felt like the bones were not fully giving me complete answers, and I think part of that is because I had to paint them and give them offerings before I did anything with them. I actually offered the bones a little bit of this perfume from Bay Next Bramble, which is R3. It was kind of in the box that I was using, which has like a mandrake on it. And they really liked it. So I pulled them out for the first time and I was like, you smell like perfume. But they really liked the perfume that I gave them. And it seems like that is a sufficient offering for them for divination. I, of course, anoint them with commune before I throw them. And right now I'm just using them for the yes, no. I'm not really trying to do more than that. I do have a pretty good system where I have kind of two divination methods with the yes no option along with my tarot cards. So sometimes I'll do my Italian playing cards, which offer a yes no option, or the bones. And I'm noticing that especially in ancestral connection sessions, the bones do really well. And of course, I woke up the spirit of the deer and asked the deer to be present and help me in divination. And yeah, I think that part of the reason I was feeling kind of like, I don't know, I'm going to give it time is because the bones were specifically like, we want to be painted. We want all these things done before you can actually work with us. And now that I've done that, I do really like how this set turned out, specifically the yes, no set. I have some other bones that I found of other animals I work with really frequently, including fox and cat. So I may add to a bigger bone set and have an option of like, I have the yes, no, and then another bone set, or maybe if these bones want, I can include like the obstacle bone in that, and those will probably be carved as well. I do love the idea of making my own meanings for the bone set. I know some people assign it to the bone and then roll on like a fabric that has definitions on it. For me, I like carving them. It feels really rewarding and I feel like it looks really good. And now I have a bunch of paint that I need to use. So I'm going to be probably carving more bones. But yeah, I really liked how these turned out. And yeah, I fed a little bit of perfume, some commune oil, and they worked really, really well. They seem pretty pleased to just be in their box when I'm not using them. Along with this, I'm curious if you've made a bone throwing set, if you did a yes, no set, if you did a bigger set, what your experience was with that, what kind of animals or spirits or things you included in the bone throwing set, and if you enjoyed watching this video and this journey and what it looks like. And if you have any ideas for what I should do moving forward for more bones, whether I should add to this set or create another one, let me know. Like I mentioned, I am working with processing a raccoon right now, so I'll maybe do some things with those bones as well, and that may not be for me, but for someone else. Who knows? Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to like, subscribe, turn the bell on. If you want, you can leave a comment, but otherwise, yeah, thank you. Siate benedetti.